Well, to talk about this section of the Havamal is to enter into perhaps the most dangerous of territories. Now we're going from verses 90 up to 111, and the focus in these verses, in one way or another, is on the subject of love. Now, I'm gonna work on this video having the title "The Follies of Love," and that's not fair or true in itself, really. It's just I can't think of anything else. I mean, I've already done a video, I think, on the power of love, and that's another discussion. Not talking about the Havamal. Yes. Verse 90 begins with, "Such is the love of women, of those with false minds." So we begin this section talking about fickle or false women who can't be trusted, and that you should be cautious of them. But obviously Odin goes on to sort of say that men's hearts are fickle towards women also, and that we speak most fairly when we think most falsely. And this is a trap for those who would like to consider themselves wise. So it's the folly of courtship. I mean, there's a bit of an old-fashioned word. I mean, not everyone uses that as a term these days, but obviously it's the dance, if you like, between seeing someone that you are attracted to and the process of engaging with them. There are multiple ways of doing that, but normally it's approaching someone, entering into conversation, depending on the setting. I mean, modern day, you're most likely to be sort of on a social scene, probably with drinks involved. Not necessarily parties. There are other methods. I'm just going for the straightforward catch-all categories. But obviously, at the end of verse 92, it's just like, he who flatters gets. It's that, really, that sort of says to me, is that sort of when you've got, or you witness someone who exudes confidence. You've got those people that can just talk to someone else, and it's just that sort of, they could sell ice to an Eskimo type sort of thing, or they just walk into a room and they can sort of just like Doc Savage kind of smile, cheek, just pleasantness that overcomes so many social hurdles that a lot of us might have to struggle with. It's just a strange subject, really, but there's good advice here, as throughout the Havamal, really. I mean, begins verse 93 that we should not really have a go at someone if a friend or someone we know has become infatuated with someone or is in love with someone. But obviously there's also that truth that once you enter into a loving relationship, your priorities shift, and you can easily do things you wouldn't ordinarily do, or you betray a part of yourself because you are driven by the moment, the pleasure of the relationship you're in. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. I mean, it's just that sort of... I don't think even Odin is saying that's wrong. It's you don't mock someone for don't mock someone for enjoying themselves, especially if it's because of love. I mean, it is a powerful emotion. I think it's interesting, sort of verse 95. I mean, the mind alone knows what lies near the heart. He is alone with his spirit. No sickness is worse for the sensible man than to find no contentment in anything. I like this verse. I mean, I've probably said elsewhere, I can't say for certain, but I've had personal opinion for a while that one of the hardest things in life is to be content, and that's not easy to achieve. So many people look at what other people have and are envious, or critical of what someone else is doing, and too often than not are so focused on what other people have or don't have that you can't appreciate what you've got. Now, I'm not saying I'm above that either. I've been there, I've done that, and I've not appreciated the value of the things I've had in my life, to the point that it can be a hard lesson to learn. I've learned it the hard way. I am very grateful for my life as it is now, and some of the sort of sweet spots of the realization of that is in being content with some of those things in my life, that I haven't got to work towards a really, really far off goal, that there's some beauty and the contentment of simple things. I can't misjudge them. We take for granted in this life so much because we allow ourselves to be blinded by the bright lights of other people's stuff. And it's like other things as well. It's just that sort of, when there's something you want to do it as much as you can, and you want to sort of taste all the flavours, but you can never do everything. You've only got so much time, and sometimes less is more. I'm slightly going off subject, so I'm gonna sort of wind my neck in a bit and continue. I mean, it's sort of, from verse 96, we're starting to sort of go into a narrative of Odin, really, of him sort of seducing someone and getting into a bit of trouble, you dirty dog. Obviously, verse 97, Billin's girl, and it's just that sort of lust overcomes Odin. And sort of caution about how you should conduct an affair, which obviously the narrative just sort of goes over the few verses that obviously Odin is anticipating having a very fine time, and then sort of when he goes to have his way, that there's a band of warriors waiting for him. Oops. And that sort of, even when he tries to fool these warriors, he tries to return the next morning, he doesn't achieve his goals, really. And then sort of towards like the 101 towards 111, it's again sort of continuing sort of a story, and the fact that really I love that in verse 103 that there's the word nincompoop. That's a joy to read. Oh, it's just one of those words that's great to hear. It's sometimes there are words you want to be able to use on a daily basis and they don't always come up. I'm a great lover of the word cantankerous. It's just that sort of, you should find a way to drop that into a conversation sometimes. It's just, oh, he's a bit cantankerous, isn't he? What a nincompoop. But it's just really sort of, so you got this tale of how Odin is after the maid, and Gunnlod, poor Gunnlod, is used by Odin for Odin to achieve his ends. And the fact that really sort of that comes back to haunt him a little bit. Sort of, so it's, I don't know, it's that betrayal that Odin does that causes Gunnlod to weep once he's had his way. So that brings us up really to 111, and the fact that we're entering into sort of another phase of the Havamal that's kind of a change of narrative that means making notes on it is going to be a different sort of exercise. So that'll be interesting. I'll be looking to do that just to sort of keep up. But Lord Fafnir, you'll be hearing that word a lot. So anyway, yeah, it's the Follies of Love. I'm bringing us up to date with my notes on the Havamal, and let's say I'm not always going to cover everything to perfection. I'm just going to offer some thoughts and see where we go from there. So if you've watched this, thank you very much, and I will be seeing you soon. I'm hoping that you're having a really good Yule. See you next time. Thank you very much.